Gentlemen, let me tell you something most men learn too late. The moment you stop explaining yourself to someone committed to misunderstanding you, the entire game changes. The moment you stop chasing, stop defending, stop sending paragraphs, stop proving, stop begging to be seen fairly, you force truth into the room. And truth has a strange way of revealing itself when your silence gets louder than your effort. So, if you have ever been blamed, twisted, doubted, accused, tested, and emotionally dragged through chaos by a woman who wanted your devotion but never respected your peace, then stay with me, because what happens when you disappear is not what she expects. And it may be the first time in a long time that your absence speaks for you better than your words ever did. A lot of men think the answer is to fight harder for understanding. They think if they just explain themselves one more time, love a little harder, reassure a little more, answer a little faster, stay a little softer, then maybe the accusations will stop. Maybe the suspicion will calm down. Maybe the disrespect will turn back into affection. But listen carefully. When somebody repeatedly accuses you not to understand you, but to control you, your explanations become fuel. Your honesty becomes a tool they use against you. Your patience becomes permission. And your presence becomes something they take for granted. That is why disappearing is not a game. It is not manipulation. It is not revenge. It is clarity. It is the moment a man finally says, I will no longer audition for a role in a story you already decided to write about me. And nein far ein gar bind. Because when you keep chasing someone who keeps accusing, you are not building love. You are volunteering for emotional probation. Every day, you are being asked to prove innocence in a court that was never interested in evidence. And the worst part? Many men stay because they confuse chaos with passion. They confuse being needed with being valued. They confuse drama with depth. They think if she reacts this strongly, she must care. No, sometimes a person does not care about losing you. They only care about losing access to you, and that is exactly why your disappearance matters. The minute you pull back, everything she was using to regulate her emotions begins to vanish. The constant reassurance? Gone. The immediate replies? Gone. The emotional labor? Gone. The man who kept absorbing every unfair accusation just to keep the peace? Gone. And suddenly, she has to sit with the one thing she has been avoiding the whole time, herself. See, people get comfortable when they think you will always be there. They get reckless with your heart when they believe your loyalty has no limit. They push harder when they assume your standards are weak. But absence has a brutal way of exposing value. When the attention dries up, when the energy is no longer available, when the man she thought she could endlessly accuse is nowhere to be found, the questions begin. Why isn't he calling? Why isn't he fighting for this? Why is he calm? Why does it feel like I lost control? And that is where the shift begins. Not because she magically becomes perfect, not because your silence fixes her, but because your silence restores you. That is the part men forget. Disappearing is not about making her miss you. It is about making you remember yourself. Remember what it feels like to wake up without anxiety in your chest. Remember what it feels like to go through a day without defending your character. Remember what it feels like to speak without being twisted, to breathe without being monitored, to live without feeling like love is a constant interrogation. Peace is not boring. Peace is not weakness. Peace is proof that your nervous system was never meant to survive on drama. And once a man tastes that peace, really tastes it, he starts to see everything differently. He starts to realize how much of himself he abandoned just to stay connected to someone who kept making him feel guilty for crimes he never committed. He sees how often he apologized just to stop the argument. He sees how often he shrank to fit inside someone else's insecurity. He sees how exhaustion had become normal. And when that awareness hits, something powerful happens. He stops chasing closure from people who only offered confusion. Now let me be clear. When you disappear, not everyone reacts the same way. Some will come back fast. Some will send the I miss you message. Some will test the waters with casual words, indirect attention, half-hearted check-ins. Some will act angry because your absence exposed how much they relied on your presence. Some will try to provoke you because they cannot stand that they no longer control your emotional response. And some will do nothing at all. That silence will tell you everything you need to know. Because real love does not need false accusations to feel secure. Real connection does not survive by exhausting one person and empowering the other. Real respect does not make you prove your integrity every week. If your loyalty is constantly questioned while your pain is constantly ignored, that is not intimacy. That is imbalance. So what should you do? You step back. You stop over-explaining. You stop chasing people who need your desperation more than your dignity. You stop trying to convince someone to see your value when their behavior already revealed they benefit from pretending not to. And then you rebuild. You rebuild your routines. You rebuild your focus. You rebuild your confidence. You rebuild your standards. You get your body stronger, your mind quieter, your boundaries sharper, your life fuller. You become a man whose peace is too expensive to trade for confusion. And from that place, something incredible happens. You no longer fear being misunderstood by the wrong person because you are no longer willing to abandon yourself just to be chosen by them. That is the real power of disappearing. Not that she watches your silence and suddenly wakes up, but that you do. You wake up to the fact that your worth was never supposed to be negotiated through exhaustion. You wake up to the fact that love without trust is just emotional captivity with romantic language. You wake up to the fact that any relationship requiring you to constantly defend your character is draining the life out of your purpose. And once you see that clearly, once you truly understand it, chasing becomes impossible. So if you are tired, listen to me. Walk away from the endless accusations. Walk away from the emotional treadmill. Walk away from the cycle that only survives because you keep feeding it your time, your energy, your sanity, and your self-respect. Disappear. Not to punish. Not to perform. Not to be dramatic. Disappear because you finally understand that some people only learn your value when they can no longer reach you, and some men only reclaim their power when they stop begging to be treated fairly. Let your absence deliver the message your words never could. And then watch what happens.